joined by the Master Blaster, the man who celebrated long back when we won for the first time. Mr. Sunil Gavaskar now joins us. Absolute delight having you here. So you're a Mumbai boy yourself. You see your city is turned out in big numbers. It's been a few days since this final was played. Mumbai is partying like this match happened just an hour ago.
And I can understand that as well, because it's been such a long wait, isn't it? It's been almost, 13 years, well, 17 years for the T20 World Cup. India won the 50 Overs World Cup in 2011 and then the Champions Trophy in 2013. So it's been 11 years since India won a world title. So totally understand how India and Mumbai is feeling as well.
To what extent would this give the current team extra belief, given that we've had a series of finals where we've ended up on the losing side? Now that they've been able to cross the finishing line for this generation and over the next several months as the next bunch of ICC tournaments happen, how much do you think that extra belief will now come into play?
Well, this team was never short of belief. I think they just needed a little bit of a break, and they got that break this time around. In terms of some of the narrow wins that they had, first against Pakistan, then even against USA, they had a little bit of a fight on their hands. And if that catch of Suryakumar Yadav had been taken, who knows, USA could have given another surprise. But then the match against Australia, when their captain Mitchell Marsh and Travis Head were going well, not once did the body language of this Indian team look down. And that's been the biggest strength of this team, is that, they've never looked down, even when they've been down. They've actually looked to get up and fight. And that's why I do believe that the core of this team being of young players who will be playing at least for the next 7, 8, 10 years maybe, I think the belief is already there. Now it will only get stronger.
So one thing that your city firstly never fails, to really deliver. We've seen him on multiple occasions, whether it was the 2007 T20 World Cup, 2011 happened at Wankhede. My question to you is, the scenes that we're witnessing right now at Marine Drive, does it take you back to 1971? Because that's where it really started. The first time you had that wasn't an open bus parade, that was an open car parade. You're all going in vintage cars. So does it bring back memories?
Nikhil, I wasn't there for that because I'd accepted to play in a double wicket tournament in Bermuda, because Sir Garfield Sobers had asked me to play in a double wicket tournament in Bermuda. So I missed that 1971 welcome that the team got from the airport to the Brabant Stadium. The Brabant Stadium was there. I totally missed that, but I can see what this reception must be. This is tremendous. I mean, look at all of them standing on top of the bus, everybody down there cheering, shouting everybody's name. I think this is goosebumps time. This is goosebumps time, and this is what winning for your country does. It makes the whole country happy. Even those who don't follow the game, they will feel a sense of elation at what this team has achieved.
So if I can ask you, we won every title that there is, with the exception of the WTC. 2007, the last time you won a T20 World Cup. 2011, the last time you won a 50-over World Cup. What do you think is the significance, and how badly did Indian cricket need this title in 2024?
See, I'll tell you about 2011 and 2024. All the wins have been fantastic wins for the country. I mean, I will not even try and differentiate. The only difference, if one might say, is that the 2011 team, the 50 overs team, was under pressure to win. The 2024 team was under massive pressure to win. The 1983 and the 2007 teams were not under that much pressure, because the expectations were really not that high. But after that, the expectations built up. So this is really a special win for 2024, because the first ever T20 World Cup India wins, and then after that they start the IPL, which is the biggest T20 league and in the world, and playing so many matches in the T20 leagues, getting experience of playing against various players, different players. Then your team is expected to win, and therefore this win is really special, extraordinarily special. This win.
So again, I go back to those past memories. 1983 World Cup, your team won. You were all promised, I think, 1 lakh rupees from the BCCI to be shared between every member of the team. I want your reaction
1 lakh to be shared amongst everyone.
Everyone. And then, of course, Lata Mangeshkar came to the rescue. But my reaction, I would want your reaction on the 125 crore that has been given by the BCCI to this team. Indian cricket clearly has come a long way.
It certainly has, and they deserve more. I mean, why not? I mean, the Indian Cricket Board, that time, look, that time the BCCI didn't have the money. Then now the BCCI has the money. And therefore, it is nice to see the BCCI recognizing, the efforts of these guys. Look at the way they won. Look at the way they've, rallied in difficult situations and come back to win. That is tremendous, unbelievable, and they totally deserve every single rupee of what the BCCI has done. But more importantly, I think what they will cherish for their entire lifetime is that love and affection that they're seeing from the fans. That you cannot buy for love or money. That love and affection of the people.
Three senior players from the team, Sunny Bhai, Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, Ravindra Jadeja, announcing their retirement from the T20 format after this World Cup victory. Do you think they've picked the right time? Could they have pushed it a little further? Do you think this is the right moment? And who from the current crop of players do you think is more suited to step in for these legends?
Well, I think they've looked at the T20 format. They've picked from the T20 format because the next T20 World Cup is 2 years down the road. So clearly, they don't feel that they will be able to play the T20 at that level 2 years down the road. So yes, I think with that in view, I think they've taken the right time. And why not go when on a winning note? So that's a very good time that they've picked to go. As far as replacement, there are plenty. For Jadeja, there's straight away Akshar Patel, who's been really outstanding in the entire tournament. He's batted, he's bowled, he's taken some unbelievable catches. He's been, to my mind, he's been really the find of that of this T20 format. There are plenty of batters there as well. There's Surya Kumar Yadav, there is Sanju Samson, there is Jasprit Bumrah, you name it. There are loads and loads of players who can replace. Obviously, not with the same ferocity and power right away, but with more experience, they will get there.
What do you make of the kind of outburst of emotion we're seeing from Rahul Dravid? Usually he's seen as being very stoic after the victory, and even now he's really pumped up, letting it all loose and letting all the emotions flow.
Well, you see, he was never a part of a winning team himself. So for him, and this also being his last job as a coach, it really must mean a lot. It's a different feeling when you feel you're the world champion, to be part of a squad, to be part of a team where you've beaten the rest of the world. It's an incredible feeling, hard to describe in words, what it means. For us in '83, when we did that, it was just mind-blowing. I think there was so much of screaming and shouting, that was going on in the change room, and I'm sure that would have happened now with loads of music, etc., being played. It's just a feeling which refuses to die down. Even after so many years, you just feel that little. Every time you talk about 1983, you just feel a sense of pride, a glow of pride when people talk about 1983, as far as our 1983 team is concerned.
Saibhai, you're talking about moments, and I think the standout image for me today has been when the team arrives in Mumbai. It's not the captain, it's Hardik Pandya who walks out with the World Cup trophy in the city that not too long ago was not very happy with him being captain of Mumbai Indians. We saw visuals from Wankhede, it's packed, and they are chanting Hardik, Hardik, the same crowd which probably was booing him some time back. Could you think of a better comeback story than Hardik Pandya's in this World Cup?
I don't think so. I think, this is what the game of cricket does. This is what the game of cricket is all about. You can be very good for 2 sessions of the game, and the third session is something where it can slip out of your hands. So clearly, for Hardik Pandya, this must mean a lot. But it's also, let's face it, it's the nature of Indian fandom. You know what happened to Mahendra Singh Dhoni? You know what happened to Mahendra Singh Dhoni's house in 2007 after India had that disastrous outing in the Caribbean. People, over there in Ranchi were throwing stuff at his house. And then when 2011, when India won, the very same people, I'm pretty certain, most of them at least, would have, were trying to get in to the house and try and congratulate his parents for what he had achieved. So that's the nature of fandom in India. Not everywhere, but some places.
Rajdeep joins us as well. You're a Mumbai boy. These are parts you're familiar with. You can't see the necklace. You can't see Nariman Point. All you can see are people, and they've come out in massive numbers, Rajdeep, to celebrate.
Absolutely. It's a very short distance, and therefore, you can pack in a lot of people within that 1.5 kilometer stretch, and it's taken, more than 30 minutes already, and a few more before they reach the Wankhede Stadium. These are great scenes. These are scenes that are reminiscent of previous motorcades. I know Mr. Gavaskar is here, and I'm going to say something which he might remember. He and I are actually connected. I told this to Nikhil earlier today, to the first motorcade that took place in India when an Indian team was brought way back in 1971.
He wasn't part of it because he went to play the World Series. He just told us on the
71,
broadcast.
you were not there in the at the motorcade, Mr. Gavaskar, when the team returned from England?
No, I wasn't. I'd gone at the invitation of Sir Garfield Sobers to play in a double-wicket tournament in Bermuda, so I missed that motorcade reception in 71.
Okay, so then I remain the only link between 71 and now, because I was there as part of that motorcade, which is 53 years ago. But that was Mr. Gavaskar's debut year, and the remarkable debut that he had. But, then they had vintage cars, Rahul. There was 6 vintage cars organized, in which the 16 players had to be there. It was an open air from the airport to Brabant Stadium, and from all indication, the crowds perhaps were even bigger at the time. Again, the month of August or September. So it was the monsoon in Mumbai. Something about the monsoon, Mumbai and cricket motorcades. Even Mahendra Singh Dhoni, when he came back with 2007, was a monsoon evening. So it's fantastic. It shows continuity from 71 to today, 83. Then there was the big one in 2007 and 11. This is just fantastic. And lots of lovely little stories here. Rahul Dravid was to retire as coach in November, stayed back for 6 months after a phone call from Rohit Sharma. Hardik Pandya, that Nikhil just said, the complete turnaround in his fortunes. Mumbai Indians sort of being targeted as Mumbai Indians captain, now being celebrated. Rohit Sharma and Virat Kohli, Ravi Jadeja all retiring. I think it's just fantastic. This generation of players, Rahul and Nikhil, I think deserved this one big trophy that they can take home and say, we were world champions. So, because they've been outstanding in all forms of cricket, and have only lost in finals in the past. So, all credit to the players. I hope that the players are the focus and not officials. That's my only limited point.
The officials know where to plant themselves, that they come in.
They do. I mean, Mr. Jai Shah is there, Ashish Shelar is there, Rajiv Shukla, who has an uncanny knack of always being in the photographs. I just think that this is a moment for the cricketers. Look at Rahul Dravid. He's at the back. He's hardly.
Rohit Sharma is at the back.
Rohit Sharma is at the back, and I hope that they are the real stars of the moment, and they should be recognized as such. And it
says so much about the personality about these cricketers. Virat Kohli constantly wanting to message someone. We presume that's his wife, and he's sending it to his wife and children. Whereas you've got Hardik Pandya, and Surya Kumar Yadav, who seem to be the most excitable. They're the ones who are dancing around the most.
Mohammad Siraj seems to be terrifically excitable. Akshar
Patel. There's Akshar, yeah.
They're the younger lot, and why not? This is their moment in the sun, and it's wonderful that they're getting this reception.
Do you feel, Sunny Bhai, that this generation dances a lot better than Indian cricketers in the past?
Yes, I think so. I think these guys have got maybe better footwork. I'd like to think we were better looking, but these guys have got better footwork.
No, but in that generation, you didn't have, Mr. Gavaskar, you didn't have mobile phones. So how did you capture all these events? Would you get the photographs from friends? How would you capture the events that you were part of?
I think, there were some photographs taken. There were, that black and white, movie that was taken. So some of us got, somebody would send it to us, but that's about it. We basically got newspaper clippings, not this kind of a thing.
But what is your favorite memory of all these victories you have? 83, 85, 71, you've been part of those 3 big victories. Then you've seen the other big wins. Is there a special moment? I remember once reading somewhere you said that that six that Mahendra Singh Dhoni hit at the Wankhede was something you'll never forget to win the 2011 World Cup. Is there a standout moment in all this for you, sir?
I think there were two standout moments which actually, tell you what winning meant for this team, and both were on the field. One was the Akshar Patel catch to get rid of Mitchell Marsh in the game against Australia, because that partnership was threatening to take the game away from India. And then Surya Kumar Yadav's catch to get rid of David Miller in the final over of the final. So those were the two standout.
What was more important? We were having an amateur debate in the newsroom before this broadcast. One side arguing that Klaasen getting caught out behind the stumps, that was more important. The other side arguing that that David Miller catch that Surya Kumar Yadav took, that was more crucial, because if Klaasen had stayed for a few more balls, that could have been the end of the match. From your expert lens, which of the two do you think was more pivotal to the final outcome?
Oh, definitely, I think Klaasen's wicket, and for that I think we need to credit Rishabh Pant as well, because he was the one who took off his pads, asked for the physio to come in and treat his knee, whether it was an imaginary injury or whatever. He slowed the game down. He made you could see Klaasen pacing up and down, getting impatient to face a ball. And the next one was a wideish delivery, and he chased it and was caught behind, and that broke the partnership, that broke the rhythm, that broke the flow, and that obviously was the crucial one. But David Miller, we have seen in the IPL, is capable of scoring 24, 30 runs in the final over of the last 6 deliveries. So that catch also was equally important.
Rishabh Pant, you spoke of, given how bad his injury was, did you anticipate that he'd be able to recover in the way that he has?
No, to be honest, well, I hadn't seen the injury. I'd only seen the photographs, but I'd heard from, guys like Ravi Shastri how bad the injury was, how it was so sad to see him in the hospital in the state that he was in. But full marks to him, because he was the one who asked the doctors, how long will it take? And then he said to the doctors, I'll be ready 6 months before. And that's exactly what he did. He worked very, very hard to get back to full fitness. And now he's once again an integral part of the Indian team.
Rajdeep, did you anticipate that he'd be able to recover? Because when we saw the stories of just how bad the injury was, I thought, poor guy, his career seems to be now in a big funk, and then he's been able to recover from there.
Absolutely, Rahul. And don't forget, he's a wicket keeper. So the general sense was, even if he becomes a batsman, will he be able to keep? Because when you have knee injuries, you have injuries below the, on the thigh. These are injuries which, as a wicket keeper, because you're going up and down all the time, will you be able to be good enough to keep for India? One thing, you could keep for an IPL team, but will you make the next level during the for India? And he was brilliant behind the stumps. Yeah, he may have been up and down at times with his bat. Whenever he clicked, he was always good. He had a couple of bad games, but as a keeper, he was uniformly terrific. And I think those are the little stories. Within this team, there are lots of little individual battles that they won. You mentioned Hardik Pandyas' battle, Rishabh Pant's battle coming back from injury. You've had Jasprit Bumrah, who also spent a long time on the sidelines because of injury, came back. You've had Rahul Dravid, who was going to retire as coach. Rohit Sharma was likely never to play T20 again. Virat Kohli, his last big match. Ravindra Jadeja, last big match. They've all had these little moments, which I think make this so special. Something. Yes, sir. Mr. Gavaskar, go ahead, sir.
No, I'm not saying. I'm listening to you.
No, I was just saying that there were lots of these little lovely stories of all these players coming together. In that sense, it seems to have been a team celebration more than any individual standout performances. Much like 83 in many ways, there was Kapil Dev's great innings, but apart from that, everyone contributed at some stage or the other in 83 as well.
Well, more so in this tournament, because you see, in every match there was somebody or the other who came and put his hand up. A lot of people were towards the semi-final, final stage were questioning Shivam Dubey's place in the side. But he played those little cameos, 25, 30 in 10, 15 deliveries, which took, and also had a partnership with the other set batsman at the other end. So, those little partnerships which helped India to get a good total. sometimes, you tend to look at one innings and one spell of bowling and forget that there is a partnership to go with it as well. So everybody, you're absolutely right. Everybody contributed. On the field, it was a tremendous team because you had to be present at the ground to see the body language. They walked like champions. They were walking out to field like champions. They had that belief when even when they came out to defend 120 against Pakistan. You just had to see the way they sprinted onto the field. They sprinted onto the field thinking they had scored 1,200 runs. It was like that. They were so confident. Now that is what this team is all about. This team is about super confidence.
And I think that's a big difference between Indian cricket, of the past.
What would mean more? The one-day World Cup victory or a T20 World Cup victory? Let's bring everyone in on this.
I mean,
Go ahead, Nikhil.
for sure 50 over because that's the original World Cup. But just looking at where the game is progressing, I don't know how long 50 over is going to be around.
Mr. Gavaskar, winning a 50-over World Cup is a bigger deal or winning a T20 World Cup is a bigger deal?
I think the T20 because there's very little time to recover. In 50 overs, you have some overs to recover. It's almost like 2.5 T20 games, because it's a 100-over game. But T20, there's very little time to recover. You 1 or 2 overs can change the course of the game, and that's why the T20, this T20 is a super fabulous win.
No, I'll have to endorse Mr. Gavaskar's view because as journalists as well, T20, we find it tough to recover. Because you finish one live, you go and sit in the press box, and before you know, there's the mid-innings, you have to go out. Before you know, the game starts.
Making it seem as if he worked as hard as he did during the election.
In ODI cricket, you can analyze. We
traveled the length and breadth of this country during the election. Nikhil Naz, in the manner he's speaking, is trying to make it seem as if being in Barbados on the beach was as tough as being in Dumka.
Do you know,
I
never went to the beach. In my entire trip.
I have a slightly different take. I actually, maybe because I'm old-fashioned, I still think that, the 50-over game is something worth preserving. As we saw in the World Cup in India this time. I think the World Cup in India showed that there's still life in 50 overs. And I think it is because Nikhil said the original World Cup. I still think of that as, when you look at world champions, as you do in football, there is the Nations Cup, there's the Euro soccer, but you aim for the big one every 4 years. This comes every 2 now. So that's part of my problem with it, and I think there's a surfeit of it. I'm sorry to play party pooper here, but I think 50 overs, and I actually think I'd love to see India win the World Test Championship, because I think eventually, that would be even nicer. It would be the icing on the cake. I think if you win T20 and Test cricket, you've scaled 2 summits. For nostalgia, the 50 overs. I mean, Mr. Gavaskar's here, I'm not saying it because he's here, but I think 83 was our greatest cricket moment. I still think so. After all these years.
First, right? It's like Afghanistan winning
That's right.
a World Cup.
After all these years, Mr. Gavaskar, if I have to be asked which is that greatest moment, it's your team of 83 and what you all achieved then, because you were the first to climb Everest, and therefore everyone else has taken the baton forward. I'm saying these cricketers are fantastic. They've done remarkably well. I'm just saying it's always nice to win the first one.
Yes, I think as you said, to be the first to climb the Everest is always, first to climb the peak is always a very, very special feeling. But there was no pressure on us. There was pressure on the 2011 team, the pressure on the 2024 team. I don't think there was the same kind of pressure on the 2007 team, which won the first ever T20 World Cup, because again, the expectation that nobody knew what the T20 format was. Not too many people knew what the T20 format was, those who followed the game. And so that was, wow, lovely. That's a great win for MSD's team. But that win meant that every other team that played in the T20 World Cup was expected to win. And when that happens, the pressure just gets, more and more.
You're speaking so much of the Indian team. I want to ask you 2 questions about other teams. One, South Africa. I was with some South African fans at the airport. The word chokers has just become the worst abuse in their lexicon. What would it take for the South African team to recover? They went out, played confidently, were unbeaten till the finals, and then just at the end, when they're 30 of 30, it seemed as if we'd lost and they were in a good position. They end up bungling it up. Maybe England or Australia wouldn't have done that. So why does this keep happening to South Africa? What would it take for them mentally to recover from this?
Well, it's tough. It's always, somebody who's, getting into the 90s. I talked about this Indian team as well, that they were getting into the 90s, getting into the semi-finals and the finals, but not scoring that 100, not winning it. So it's the same case with South Africa. You have to say though that the South Africans have possibly got into the 90s for the first time, because all this while they have been hardly ever in the playoffs as well, maybe the occasional playoffs. So they have really not been. They've always been a good team, a team that everybody else is wary of. But when it comes to somehow delivering, they have not been able to deliver. This was in the palm of their hands. How they allowed it to slip away is something that's going to haunt them for a long, long time.
Also on Afghanistan, how far do you think Afghanistan is from actually being able to win one of these trophies? Has that team reached a level of evolution where they can actually win a major World Cup, whether it's T20 next time round, or do you think they're just shining on the odd occasion and may not have the juice that it takes to actually go across the finishing line?
On subcontinent pitches, there will be a handful. Even on pitches here in the West Indies, where there was a little bit of help for their spin bowlers, they showed what they were. I think it's in the batting that they've got to really, strengthen their batting a bit, because their batting sometimes gets a little bit lost. They don't know how to go. Either it is, going bang, 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 or suddenly, quietening up. So that is something that they will have to work on. They work on their batting. They work on their fielding. Their fielding, my God, some of the catches that they drop sometimes, makes you feel, hey, what kind of a team this is. They're simple catches they drop and allow the opposition to get another inning. So the fielding has to improve considerably for Afghanistan to support their bowling. Their bowling is very incisive. So if they get the fielding support, then they will really be pretty close to winning, championships.
Let's spend a moment, Rajdeep, talking about Jasprit Bumrah and what makes him so unique to be at this level of being deadly for so long. It just feels so nice as an Indian cricket fan to have the world's deadliest bowler bowling for you.
He's just incredible. The fact is that the great Andy Roberts, the West Indian fast bowler, apparently told Jasprit Bumrah that even if you were around in the 1970s, you'd be in our top 4 pace quartet. I think that's as high a compliment as it comes. He's just incredibly accurate. He seems to deliver at all times. I remember we were in the 16th over when he came to bowl. Klaasen had just got out, 17th over. I think he bowled 16th or 15th and 17th. He bowled the 15th and 17th. So Klaasen had just got out in the 16th. And I had a friend of mine, former Mumbai captain, Mr. Gavaskar knows him well, Shishir Hatangi, sending me a WhatsApp, just watch Bumrah close out the match. And he did. It almost seems as if he has the ability to close out big games in a manner that I don't think I've seen any other white ball bowler do so consistently. I thought Wasim Akram was arguably the greatest white ball bowler till I saw Jasprit Bumrah. I think he is right there, right at the top. That accuracy to be able to deliver time and again under pressure, unflappable. You've never seen Jasprit Bumrah waving his hands, feeling, upset, angry with what's happening around him. I think that's part of the success of this team. Mr. Gavaskar mentioned self-confidence. The other quality I saw was calmness. There seemed a unique ability to stay calm. And I think T20 cricket, Dhoni's been great at it, is to stay calm. And I think Rohit Sharma as captain made a huge difference. He's got that ability to almost laugh off even those more difficult moments that you have on the cricket field. I don't know him, but that's the sense I get
Mr.
from the
Gavaskar,
outside.
what do you make of why he's so many notches above any other player who's playing at this time?
His ability to learn, his ability to try and absorb from the opposition bowlers, from his own teammates, something that he can pick and add to his bowling. And above all, a supreme self-belief. Look, when he started, he couldn't bowl the outswinger because of his action. Everything was, coming into the right-hander or going away from the left-hander. But he worked hard on it. I mean, the classic example was in 2018 in the test match at the Oval, where Keaton Jennings, a left-handed opening batter for England, he bowled in first 4 deliveries, just leaving the off stump, and he shouldered arms every single time, letting the ball go. And then the 5th ball, he swung back in. And again, the bat was up in the air, the ball swung back in. And I think Keaton Jennings would be the first one to run off the field, because he would have been embarrassed at what a fool he had been made of. So that's the kind of bowler he's been. That he's brought in new deliveries which he didn't have in his and with him and added to his repertoire, and that's why he's become such a dangerous bowler. I mean,
Did
to
you
be
get to
able to
talk
bowl
to
a
him
slow
again?
Yorker, is tough. Fast Yorker is okay, and the accuracy with which he bowls the slow Yorker is just incredible. That's why he's as Rajdeep said, he's probably the greatest white ball bowler that the world has seen. I know we use the word greatest, and we are very influenced by what we see in front of our eyes and forget what has happened before. But clearly, I think he's something unique.
You do
And I
think
do
he's the
hope that some of
greatest
and,
white
and I
ball
do
bowler
hope
ever?
yeah. And I do hope that some of the younger bowlers learn things from him. There is no swearing at the opposition, no send-offs being given. Only celebration of the wicket is just like that, and maybe doing something like that, but never. You don't need to send off batters. You don't need to mouth anything at any batter. He is that kind of an example. A terrific sports person, a person who knows how good he is, but does not gloat about it. Does not want to show the world, that he is the greatest.
Just to illustrate as to what really makes him this potent, the joke going around in the West Indies throughout the World Cup was that the Indian team is cheating in this World Cup. That's because India get to bat 20 overs, whereas the opposition are only getting 16 overs because Jasprit Bumrah's 4 overs don't count. So India have a cheat code. His name is Jasprit Bumrah. In fact, I'll go so far as to say I can't remember a situation where if you were sitting in the stands as we were, that firstly, Indian cricket has always, bowlers have always contributed, but Indian team has won big tournaments when you've had one batter be the outstanding star for that team, the highest run getter, or maybe a couple of batsmen carrying the team through. This time around, it was a bowler who was doing that. And as a fan sitting in the stand, I would have more confidence in a Jasprit Bumrah with the ball in his hand than a Virat Kohli, a Rohit Sharma, a Surya Kumar Yadav combined with the bat in their hand. That's the level that he had reached. He's not the highest wicket taker of this tournament. He's the man of the tournament. And no one has complaints about that because when he had the ball, it was done. You were talking about lots of matches, that Pakistan match where India, they were, needed runner ball, they were going to win. But we were talking inside the press room, we all knew India was going to win that match because out of those 24 balls, 12 were going to be bowled by Jasprit Bumrah. There was no way that you're going to get any runs off him. It's not his wickets that are the wow factor, that swing or whatever. It's the amount of runs that he does not give. 4.17 economy in a tournament where now in T20 cricket, 8 and 9 is the norm. You're okay with 8 and 9 and over. He's incredible.
Rahul, you mentioned chokers. I actually think that it was, for once, I don't think South Africa choked as much as India choked them. In those 4
No, but
overs.
Klaasen got out for no
looking.
reason.
No, look, Klaasen gets out, which you can in a cricket match.
No, but there's method in that madness. See, I was speaking to Ambati Raidu, who was my co-passenger in the flight. And I spoke to him exactly that Klaasen is hammering everyone on good deliveries. There's one innocuous delivery he gets out to. He said, no, that's the delivery you need to bowl to a man in form, because if you bowled him a good ball, he would smack you. It's when you bowl an innocuous, slow cutter that he did outside, he's not going to move his feet because he's convinced in that moment that he'll whack that for 6, and that's where he makes a mistake. So he said that was a perfect ball to bowl to a man like that.
That we can dispute. You see, when wo Jeeta was look, he should have hit that ball for 4.
No, but Rajiv, I'll tell you, who chipped in a UC He said, you look at my wickets, my maximum wickets come when I bowl that wide outside the off stump. Because I know the man in form, you need to play with his ego.
But look, when you're 30 out of 30 and you get out, even then, with 5 wickets in hand, you expect the South Africans to win. But when I look at the 24 balls that India bowled after he got out, after Klaasen got out, there's rarely a loose ball that they bowled. Arshdeep's over, we forget that. 19th over in T20 is often the most important because that gives you a little bit of breathing space going into the 20th over. I thought that would be the over where South Africa had their chances, but he was brilliant with the ball. I mean, here is again a young guy come through the under 19 ranks. This has been an incredible team, an incredible team effort. And I think that...
Let's spend a moment talking about Arshdeep Singh. Because he was trolled so badly when things went wrong, all kinds of insinuations made. And he's really come out as a very strong support cast to Jasprit Bumrah. In fact, even being able to take more wickets than him, Mr. Gavaskar. What do you think of his evolution as a pace bowler?
Tremendous. Because, if India can use that left-handed speed as well as swing. Even in red ball cricket, India will really have a very formidable attack. Uh, Look, being in the same change room as Jasprit Bumrah is like being in a university where you got the best professor in town, and that's exactly what would have been the case with Arshdeep thing. With Arshdeep, you get the impression that he's again like Bumrah, wanting to learn, wanting to get better than yesterday. So I do remember saying sometime in the middle of the tournament that he seems to be bowling only the away going delivery to the right hander. He's not getting the ball to curve back in. Next match, whether somebody told him or whatever it is, because some irrespective of the fact whether these guys listen to the outside chatter or outside noise as they call it, they somehow get a window of what's being said. So he did come back with that incoming delivery, and that's such a deadly delivery if you're bowling to a right-hander. As Rohit Sharma will tell you, or a Virat Kohli, or a KL Rahul will tell you, it's very difficult because left-hander bowling over the wicket, you're little partially blinded because of the fact that you have to open your stance a little bit. It's not an easy delivery to negotiate, and he's got that. So to see him flower the way he has been really heartwarming. And before he had all this, on his face as he grew older, he had one of the sweetest smiles in the game, and I think his smile today will be as equally sweet.
And in Bhangra too. This is Rahul Dravid's last tournament as coach. Who would you like to see as the next coach of the Indian team? Who do you think is best suited to take the Indian cricket team into the future?
Well, this Indian team really needs somebody who's a mentor of sorts, somebody who will be there for them to turn around to when they're just beginning to doubt yourself, because there comes a time in every cricketer's life when things are not going well for him, and more than technical issues or more than trying to say anything to him, it's a temperament that has to be looked at, and I think you need somebody who will be able to do that temperament thing. Oh, no, you're very good, not to worry about it. Nothing to do. Maybe just pick your bat up like this, or maybe as far as bowler is concerned, maybe your shoulders falling a little bit, maybe get that a little bit high. Just little things to be told, but more importantly, giving confidence to the player that he's good enough. And
let me press you further. Who do you think is best suited to do that job?
Well, there's a CSC that will decide. I'm not going to be able to tell you who's the best to decide, because I'm not going to preempt what the CSC would have decided. And I think the CSC would have decided by now. By the time the team comes back from Zimbabwe, you'll know who's the coach. So, but it'll be
These are live images from the Wankhede Stadium. The team and the fans for the first time dancing together. So far, the team was up on the bus. Now the team is with the fans, mingling as they go in. Very, very fascinating, heartwarming scenes this, because Indian cricket hasn't had a moment of this kind to celebrate in more than a decade. Rajdeep, who do you think is likely to be the next coach, and who's best suited to be the next coach in your opinion?
I think it's pretty clear that Gautam Gambhir is the obvious front runner now that he's put his name forward. He's done remarkably well with Kolkata Knight Riders. He's a great judge of the game. Every time you speak to Gautam Gambhir, you learn something new about cricket. He's going to, of course, have to adapt to the conditions of working with players who may have different temperaments, egos. I think a lot of coaching at the very top level is not technical, it's just man management. And if he can do that, I think he'll be a remarkably successful coach. Look, this team needs very little hand-holding in my view. They're so talented. I think the sheer talent that Indian cricket has, you're going to have to, though, effect a generational change with all these retirements. And I think Gambhir will have to manage that. He's done it with Kolkata Knight Riders, brought in, built a team which was languishing last year and taken them to the title. I think he's the front runner for the post. He seems to want it. And we wish him well. I would love to see India not treat this as a one-off, win the World Test Championship, win the 50-over World Cup, and, unify, in a way, all these three titles. The Australians almost did it. Anyone who can do that, I think, will have the right to be called the greatest team of this generation. I'm looking forward, Rahul, to India versus Australia this winter. I think that 5-test series in Australia is going to be very, very special and will tell us which is the best test team in the world. And test cricket is what I believe is still the sort of pinnacle of the game.
Maybe also, Rahul, the one man that we haven't spoken about, and I think, he's the one responsible for all of this, is the captain in Rohit Sharma. Not just Rohit Sharma, the batter, who played probably two of the best innings that we saw in this World Cup. Rohit Sharma, the captain, because we were talking about Rishabh Pant. Now, he had that vision of utilizing a Rishabh Pant at number 3. No one had really seen it. He does not even play at number 3 in the IPL. And Rohit would later go on to say that while he was not captaining Mumbai Indians, his captaincy hat of an Indian captain was sticking. He says, when I saw him bat the way he did in the IPL, after that comeback, I knew this was the guy I needed at number 3. He goes back to Virat Kohli's. I don't think anyone else could have convinced Virat Kohli the way he played. He had a mixed bag of a tournament, an outstanding knock in the final. But remember, throughout the tournament, he played away from his natural grain. Now, this is a Virat Kohli used to playing a certain way. A Rohit Sharma finds a role for Virat Kohli, and then Virat Kohli wants to implement it for the sake of the team. Look at how he got Arshdeep Singh, who had been going for a lot of runs. So I think the way he plotted it, the way he planned it alongside Rahul Dravid, and which is why Rahul Dravid, we have a lot of praise for Rahul. But the first thing that Rahul Dravid said when asked about Rohit Sharma, the captain, he said, forget about his captaincy. I'm going to miss Rohit Sharma, the person, the most when I leave. So I think the kind of planning that went behind this Indian team winning the World Cup, clearly there were those residues left from that 19 November 50-over game. But from there on, I think he was determined. We're seeing him on screen right now. The role that he played as a leader was instrumental in India winning the
Most
tournament.
suited to be the next captain? Is Hardik Pandya the most likely shoe-in, or should they also potentially be looking at Surya Kumar Yadav or somebody else?
I think it would be Hardik Pandya, because let's not forget, after India lost the 2022 T20 World Cup, Hardik Pandya was given the reins of the captaincy, and he captained India for a good 10 months in T20 cricket, while both Virat Kohli and Rohit Sharma were resting. And India did come out with some good results under his captaincy. Let's also not forget that he's won an IPL in his inaugural edition as captain. And most importantly, despite not having a great IPL, you still name Hardik Pandya the vice captain of the team. That in itself tells you that there is a succession plan. He is your next captain, had a great T20 tournament. I don't know whether they'll go to a Surya Kumar Yadav. I don't know whether they'll go to a Jasprit Bumrah. But if they continue with Hardik Pandya as the captain, the next in line could be a Shubman Gill. So you'll have a gap of 4
But Mr.
5
Gavaskar,
years.
he's also injury prone. What would you think of Hardik Pandya as the next captain? Is that the most likely, most sensible choice? How would you be weighing this question?
Yes, he would. He should be the next captain. I'm not even going to say he would be the next captain. He should be the next captain, because his record. Don't see what happened at the Mumbai Indians this time around. There were too many other things happening, swirling around this year's IPL. But look at what he did for the Gujarat Titans in the last 2 seasons. The first time debut season for Gujarat Titans, he won the tournament, won the IPL trophy. Then the next time around, he had the team in the finals, and they only lost pretty much in the last over. Till then, it looked as if they were going to be the only team to win back-to-back IPL titles. So yes, I think he should be the next T20 captain, because he's got everything. Don't go by what you saw at this year's IPL. Look back at the previous 2 IPLs to see how well he led a team of people who are playing together for the first time. There were so many. I mean, if you take over a team which has already been playing together and then captain it, then it's a little bit easier. But to make a champion team out of people coming together for the first time takes something special. So Hardik Pandya is my choice, definitely, to captain the T20 World Cup.
And who would be grooming as vice captain at the moment?
I think that's where I think Shubman Gill could be the go-to person. Why I say that? While there are good contenders in a Surya Kumar Yadav as well as a Jasprit Bumrah, but I think they're the same vintage as a Hardik Pandya. So if you really want to groom someone, you'll have to look at a youngster. Shubman Gill, don't forget, he became a young captain this time around in the IPL. Captain Gujarat Titans once Hardik Pandya had left. Also, the Indian team, as we speak, are in Zimbabwe. You've sent a backup team, and the captain there is Shubman Gill. So I think Indian cricket is giving you those indications that Hardik was the next in line after Rohit Sharma, and it's also giving you indication that Shubman may be next in line after Hardik Pandya, and there's a considerable amount of gap in terms of age group. So then you have a good 3-4 years of him being deputy, and then you pass on. And I think that's a great thing for Indian cricket, rather than leave it open as to who could be the option and have multiple options doing the rounds. If you have it focused, if this generation you've got Hardik,
Would you
Shubman
be
to come.
following Mr. Gavaskar Gavaskar the same model, groom somebody with an eye on the future? Because Shubman Gill hasn't always been able to capitalize on the opportunity that's come his way and hasn't really made himself a permanent feature of the team so far.
I would look at Rishabh Pant as well. Rishabh Pant is another candidate who you could look at as a captain. With Hardik Pandya being an opening bat as well, sometimes if you're fielded and if your team in T20 cricket, if your team's been taken for say maybe 200 runs, then suddenly the pressure doubles up as an opening batter to try and keep up with that asking rate of more than 10 runs and over, and that can be a bit of an issue. So somebody like a Rishabh Pant who bats down the order 3 or 4, who will still be able to settle in and then plan the chase properly. So I would look at both of them. Both of them are very, very promising young cricketers. The future of Indian cricket is in their hands. So both of them, and let's see how they go in the next IPL, which will probably next IPL or two, to be able to get an idea who should be the next captain after
Look
Pandya.
at these celebrations at the Wankhede Stadium. Rajiv Shukla is now looking a bit tired, but the players are just loving it, living it. They're dancing, they're having a good time. What's your sense of the quality of governance of Indian cricket, given what's happening in other countries and their cricket boards, and given what you've seen in the past with the BCCI? How does the quality of governance now compare with other nations and with our own past?
Look, I think the quality of governance has always been in such that uh, they've always looked at Indian cricket to promote Indian cricket. There will always be the odd person who's been a little disappointing, if one might use the word. But I think what this particular lot has done has been quite outstanding. I know a lot of people look at Jai Shah and don't look at Jai Shah, but look at his father being in the government and therefore take aim at Jai Shah. But what Jai Shah has done, bringing in the Women's Premier League, making the women's payment on par with the Indian men's team, increasing the fees uh, for the IPL guys, for doubling and trebling the incentive to play all the matches. All the things that he has done are praiseworthy. A lot of people don't want to give him any credit because of another agenda completely, a political agenda. And my experience, to be honest with you, is that those who love the game of cricket will do a lot more for Indian cricket than those who have actually played it. That's been my experience. I'm sorry to say, but my experience is that those who actually love the game of cricket might not have played at the highest level. They will, if you tell them properly, if you convince them, they will do a lot more for Indian cricket than those who have played it. Because those who have played it sometimes tend to stay back in their age, and oh, this is what happened during our time. So maybe why should the current lot get this, and that kind of thing happens with some of them. So I would say that I think the guy, like I said, uh, I would rather sometimes, you have the cricketers have the former cricketers for technical issues, um, like rules of the game, playing conditions of the game, what should be done to make the Ranji Trophy more competitive, what all those things, are good for former cricketers to bring in their experience. As far as the administration, the finance part, etc., is concerned, leave it to the experts.